A brief spoiler-free review of Amazon's Lord of The Rings of Power on Amazon, presented by Amazon with 90% more Amazon. It's awful. I hated it. Now let me be clear. If you are not a huge Tolkien fan, but just enjoy fantasy movies or like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, and, crucially, didn't mind Peter Jackson's The Hobbit travesty, trilogy, you will probably find it to be a relatively inoffensive, if somewhat poorly paced fantasy series. I don't say fantasy epic, because there aren't very many epic moments, despite Amazon spending enough money to finance a modest space program. If, on the other hand, the better hand, you care about lore and getting things just so, you will be baffled by the terrible writing, the abysmal characterization, and the chainsaw on a pool noodle level of surgical precision in the butchery of Tolkien's lore. Because the show does not actually have the rights to portray events that are strictly in the Silmarillion, it has to color outside the lines quite a bit to create a portrait of events in the Second Age. It achieves this by basically making up idiotic nonsense, and as far as I can tell, shortening the second half of the Second Age from something like 1500 years to about 30. Seriously, a character who is not immortal, but is vital to the ending events of the Second Age, is presented during the first few episodes of this show, which seems to start about halfway through the Second Age. But remember, this version of the timeline was painted on the sidewalk by a three-wheeler driven by a 3-year-old. These are like Bible stories, but with a, hey, isn't that Neil Armstrong sitting next to Nebuchadnezzar level of dumb. It would be like writing a history book where you have the rights to talk about Napoleon, but not France, or indeed the 10th through 20th centuries. On any level, the writing is just bad, embarrassingly bad. The only positives I have are that the sets are pretty nice, and to be really fair, the costumes are terrific. They just look great. But for more than $500 million spent, they had better look great. I recall that at one point, while I was watching a cataclysmic event, I commented to myself I could actually see the budget burning on the screen. Amazon should just be ashamed of itself. Well, that's it. That's all from the Throneworld for today. If you found this review helpful, please give it a like, and if you're interested in hearing more of my spoiler-free ramblings, please subscribe to this channel. This is the Throneworld. Transmission ends.